find ourselves in a situation where somehow the standoff of the 1v1 between those two, between Varas and your Nightmare on the other side of the battlefield. But, you know, you guys had a lot of high prices, especially when looking at Randler on the side of Functional Sociopaths last week.
Yeah, some people say Randler's the best player in Europe, and it's warranted. The dude's incredibly good. He has a very versatile hero pool. He's a Pestilence god. He's probably the best Pestilence in the world. So to see this guy play the Pestilence is very exciting, as we see in the replays right now. I really hope we get the treat of seeing him play that today.
I absolutely agree. Pestilence is one of my favorite supports here, and one of the things that I had already noted with Functional Sociopaths, because we got 3 games from them last week, was the lack of consistency, and I don't mean that in a negative manner. I mean that in a positive manner. The diversity, if you will, within their compositions. That they ran 3 different comps, and some teams we see only run 1 comp the entire day. They ran 3 games in one day, and every single composition was very, very different. It wasn't like here's my Paloma Baco, insert a random range here. It was very, very diverse and different, and I really appreciate that from them. I do wonder, though, is this, if you're an opponent, do you go, they're biting off more than they can chew? We're going to capitalize on they think their hero pool is as colossal as it is?
Yeah, I mean, that could be a thing, but I think at the end of the day, their hero pool is actually just pretty massive. They're all just very good at a lot of characters. The only person that's somewhat limited is Varosk, who pretty much only plays Jade, Iva, and Destiny. I expect to see him be playing Iva throughout the day. I expect to see too much switch up. However, Xanox and Randler, those two can play like almost anything. We saw Xanox play both melee and range, which is very rare. We very rarely see a player flex between roles like that, so you never really know what to expect from those two.
Yeah, we ended up moving over to that Esmo, right? And I feel like in the world of out of the world of melees, I feel like for me it's like the closest, range, the closest thing to that melee playstyle here and there. But I mean, they made it look very, very good here as we still got the draft kind of underway between the 2 teams. Is there anything compositionally, not so much when it comes to the individual players, and like we know them in the past with like Randler on the Pestilence, is there a comp that we know these teams are very, very strong or maybe weaker against?
I think there is a specific hero that one team is weaker against. I think Functional Sociopaths, they're going to get hit with that Jumong. So Functional Sociopaths are very aggressive players. They want to go in and force outs and play aggressively. They're like the opposite of like a Gatekeepers. They want to force you to use outs by playing aggressively, not defensively. So the Jumong, incredibly good against that playstyle, because if you go in and you just get like a double rain of arrows dropped on you, you can't continue. You have to back up and play a little bit more slowly. So I think the Jumong pick for Dolos is very likely.
I really hope that we end up getting that here, ladies and gentlemen. The first picks, though, coming out is going to be Iva and Ulrich here for the 2 teams. So we do get that Iva, as you guessed, there on the side of Functional Sociopaths.
You calling me? You say a guessing?
It wasn't a guess. It was a guesstimation. a well calculated and analytical point that ended up
That's
coming
better.
true.
I like that way better.
Yeah, as a guy who gets paid to publicly speak, I should probably work on how I presented that. That's a good point that you got there. Freya and Blossom, though, at the round 2 here between the 2 teams.
Interesting. So we're not going to see Your Nightmare on his signature Thorn. I'm a little bit disappointed because that dude's so good at Thorn. But Freya, very strong in this meta. I think she'll work pretty well.
Is there a go-to last pick here? I mean, I'll tell you, when I look at Functional Sociopaths composition, I do, Blossom Iva is not, it feels like it's a combo that we see that often. Both are, I don't want to call them tier 2 because I think that's unfair, but definitely a little bit less common within the meta itself here at the BPL.
Yeah, I think, and as far as North America goes, it's less common, but this is becoming a standard thing in Europe. Europe really likes their Blossom, which is very interesting. So to see this Blossom pick, I'm not too surprised. The Iva pick also makes complete sense. I also really like it here. It's very good against Ulrich and Freya. They both have a lot of things you want to cleanse off with that taser. So every taser that lands is like inevitably going to be high value. There's always favor applied on somebody, and Freya always has some type of shield. Really nice Iva pick into this comp. But of course, we did see some Iva picks yesterday into favorable comps, and she still ended up losing. I'm not 100% sold on the state of Iva right now.
Okay, we're questioning whether or not Iva there, the grandma, is able to kind of have the presence that she should at the BPL, but you guys have that presence there with Functional Sociopaths coming in at a 61% vote over the 39 that coming in for Dolos.
Yeah, I question Iva a little bit in how valuable she is, but you know what I don't question? Varosk's ability.
Okay.
This dude can play pretty much anything, so having him on this Iva is definitely something that Dolos are going to have to be careful of. But once again, I really like this Jumong pick. It's going to be very good into Functional Sociopaths.
All right, and one thing already, I'm just going to go ahead and correct me if I'm wrong here. On the tone of like the European playstyle, and if it is that a little bit more kind of controlled here, that makes sense to me that Blossom would be more common as a pick because she is very amazing, especially if you spec into the AoE healing whenever you right click onto your tree. Like she can be insane insane threes healers in those type of situations. Is that part of the reason we see the Blossom coming out of the European region, or is it just the comfort that these players have with her specifically?
I think it's definitely one of the things you got to look out for. Of course, she has so much healing, which is really high value when the game is slower. If the game slows down a little bit and you can heal your allies up to full before re-engaging, it's very, very key. Also, something that I think is really good about Blossom is her space control. She can kind of zone people out of mid and hold that mid really well with the tree, the empowered M1s that apply the weaken, and also just that bloom boom with the stun attached to it. So she's really good for turtling up and holding mid.
So we'll see if Randler and friends are going to kind of hold it up here, but what's the hype?
We're on Ormond Knight. This is not a map you see very often, and it's a very, very tight map. There are some problems being presented by this. There's a Freya on both teams. Freya's incredibly good on this map simply because of the easy access to walls. There's a small center, and the chokes up top and bottom are very small. This is like Freya's playground. She's going to be hitting in cap after in cap after in cap. Like, there's almost nowhere that she can't get an in cap. And on the same point, Jumong, he doesn't have very many places to run because the map is so much smaller.
Yeah, I can definitely tell you as a guy who's played enough Jumong that I look at this map and I go, it's a little bit scary there. And with that same note, when we were talking about the control that Blossom would have, so then does this map accent her control that much more, knowing that Freya is going to be that big of a problem in the front line, or is it inverse?
Yeah, you know, I think it could be good. I think it goes both ways. Of course, the Bloom Boom is going to be more likely to get value simply because the AoE, there's less places to run away from it, but she also could get chased down after that use of her iframe. We'll really have to see how that goes. I don't think that's set in stone one way or the other. I like this Battlerite build from Barask. He has the Taser bounce as well as the cleanse. He understands that Taser is a really important ability this game.
Be able to remove all those nice buffs between the Freya and the Ulrich here on the squad. But speaking of Freya, Xanox moving up here onto Jurgen, getting a lot of pressure already early on here. Barask going to receive a bit of damage for a moment, but as it stands, Dolos falling behind here as the trade going heavily in favor there of the Freya. Except then the damage comes in as she maybe gets out a bit too far. Xanox has to use the ultimate and the counter. He is now out of iframes, ladies and gentlemen, and with that goes down.
And that's why they pick Jumong. You want to pick Jumong to heavily punish the hard initiation, and Xanox, he tried to go in and it looked really good for a second, but then he just got absolutely destroyed. But as I'm talking about that, your Nightmare actually getting burst down pretty hard, but the Iva inevitably going to space in, and now she has nowhere to go, and she's gonna die.
Yeah, great job there. And you know, I don't know the exact numbers here in the flesh, so I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you. But in my mind, Jumong has, in the right circumstances, some of the highest single target damage capabilities, just bar none.
Yeah, Jumong just drops damage.
I mean,
that's all he does.
QE with a M2 or EX right click is one of the highest, like, and that's not even counting any autos you want to drop in between, right? And that's assuming they're propping a counter and just standing in both your rain of arrows there. So, you know, that is what we saw kind of happening there when you saw the control over the mid. Xanox got to find a way to make sure that doesn't go down.
Yeah, dude, you don't want to get caught in that double rain of arrows after using both of your iframes. If that happens, then Dolos are just going to run away with this match. But very nice play from Jurgen. He understands how he needs to play, and he executed perfectly that round.
See if Jurgen can do it again. As for now, he's getting a little bit of pressure there. Xanox using those walls effectively. Tree life ends up going down. Randler dropping the spacebar. 5 at a time. There's that pressure onto Xanox. Iframe 1. Counter drops. He's got 1 left.
Yeah, this is looking a bit better for Xanox. He gets a decent amount of damage on this backline, but he's ending up taking quite a lot more. But since he's applying so much pressure, the functional Sociopaths are able to get the orb, but the ultimate comes out and gets no value. Super unfortunate for Xanox, and now he's kind of caught out here.
Yeah, look at that. A lot of pressure for a moment onto the Blossom, shields. But now they're going to rotate the pressure here. Everybody looking to focus down. The Thundercloud comes in, the in-cap against the wall. Taya now getting the response, or excuse me, Freya getting the response, trying to get the pressure out. Aegis goes down.
Oh God, he might go down.
And Barask and Xanox already drop here. Dance of the Dryads is used, but at this point, Dolos here just set it on fire, 2-0. Great opener there from them, but very different from the punish on the Xanox from round 1.
Yeah, very different, but Jurgen, I really like the way he played that. He's adjusting how he needs to play very well. He played much more aggressively with his Black Arrow that time. Well, not aggressively, but less patient. He recognized that he needed to Black Arrow and get away from Xanox's pressure immediately, even before he got 3 stacks, which is generally what you don't want to do. You don't want to use your space before you get 3 stacks, but he has a very good understanding of how he needs to get away from Xanox, and Xanox is having a really hard time getting in.
And, you know, beyond that point, for anybody who isn't, you know, too hype onto the Jumong, if you don't have those 3 stacks for that double, you know, spacebar opportunities or double spell opportunities, the only other escape you have there is going to be with Prowl. That takes that entire energy. Prowl already used on the side of Jurgen. He's in a bad spot here. He doesn't have any stacks for a spacebar, able to get it there. But they get their counter response. A lot of pressure onto Freya. Freya going to use that Thunderclap on the back line.
Oh, beautiful taser there. Barask stunning 2 with that, catching him out of left field. And now he's getting so incredibly low.
Counter.
Once again, he got punished so hard, it looked like they might be able to turn it, but Zaynok's still going to go down at the end.
I absolutely love the amount of control that it sees there. Hold on, Dance of the Dryad goes down, forcing the ultimate out of Freya.
They need it so bad.
They gotta get the kill. Can they get it?
Get him, get him.
No, the space bar. The track down the flame. They do not have the damage. Your Nightmare is absolutely that. He is ruining my dreams right now.
Man, Ross committing so hard for that, and your Nightmare just narrowly being kept alive from Clerney. Such great play coming out of the side of the red team, not letting your Nightmare drop. That could have been a turn from Functional Sociopaths, but it's going to end up still going in favor of Dolos.
Dance of the Dryads goes down, but at this point, Randler out of here. Very well done from Dolos, and man, I am color me impressed by Jurgen there. From beginning to end, every single time that Freya is split whatsoever, if she drops a counter or anything like, he's doing a very good job of making sure he doesn't hit it there. I'm pretty confident we even saw him use his actually EX right click in that corner to make sure he would get the weapon procs. I don't know how he went from 1 to 3, and that's the only way my brain knows that you can make that happen on Jumong. And so to clutch that out and be willing to risk that just to go, I need this double space bar right now. And then the next time Zaynok's out of position, he drops the counter that's in the middle of an M2. He's like, all right, here's the cancel, take the auto. That's GG, no re.
Yeah, things look pretty good here. Your Nightmare also playing incredibly well that last round. Zaynox, instead of going onto the Jumong this time, he's trying to go onto your Nightmare, but he's just getting bodied, Dreadnought.
Yeah, Zaynox here, already below 20. Oh, wow! Oh, my goodness! Clerney! Where did that damage come from?
Where'd Clerney go?
Where did, what?
They get the kill on Zaynox, though, so now in a 2v2 situation, this orb is going to be very important, and Jurgen sitting on full HP. Things could go in favor of Functional Sociopaths, but I'm favoring Dolos at the moment.
Jurgen hits the M2. Tree of Life gonna go down, ends up using that ultimate. The Dragon Slayer not gonna pin against the wall though. Nightmare ends up eating all of the EX left click there from Varask. Incap goes down, and I don't think Jurgen can survive out of this one.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You know, your Nightmare, he wanted to go in and play aggressively and not let Functional Sociopaths heal up, as they did have a healer, and when Dolos didn't in a 2v2 situation, but those green shards were up top. Your Nightmare could have gone up and healed up a little bit, got a little bit more of that recovery HP, but instead, the aggression is going to leave him dead.
I'm dead serious when I say I have no idea how Clerney got bodied that hard.
Dude, yeah.
I was so focused on all the damage being applied to Functional Sociopaths, and all of a sudden I look down and it's just Clerney's running away. He's like, team, I need a space bar, something, get me out of here. Yeah,
Clerney he went from like 100 to 0 in a matter of like 4 seconds. It was great coordination on the side of Functional Sociopaths, and it's like we talked about earlier, even small abilities add up very quickly when there's 3 heroes using them on you.
Radiant Shield. It'll deter all those M1s coming out from Zaynox. Zaynox going to eat a trap and double Q. Actually, that M2 not going to land from Jurgen, but still the pressure's there. Nightmare has to pull back, and he's taking an unfavorable trade. And the pressure that we see there against Zaynox, pretty close to even when looking at the front lines.
Yeah, and that Rain of Arrow is going to force the space out of Blossom, but Functional Sociopaths get the orb, which helps out Zaynox quite a bit. He's still pretty low, however, and now with the Zap Shield used, he has to play pretty safe here. No tree either. This could be bad.
Counter use. Look at that nice EX left click there from Varask to make sure that counter doesn't end up getting hit. One of the highest, spell damages in the entire game there if all of it ends up getting the proc. Counter goes through after the ultimate. Counter ultimate comes through. Freya is not long for this world. Zaynox out of here, but look at that ultimate from Iva. Spraying and praying, baby. Almost turning that around.
Yeah, pressing that F button, dropping those bullets, and finding a kill. Now, once again, your Nightmare, he doesn't have very much HP in this 2v2. It looks just like last round. As your Nightmare goes straight in again, those greens are up top. He might need them, but instead, he just wants to tunnel this Blossom. We'll see if he gets punished for it here as the Bloom Boom comes out. He gets the orb, and he finally goes up to get those green shards. This is a big reset for Dolos, but Jurgen, the damage is starting to add up on him.
He's so low. There's no way. He has to be able to get a shift left click if he's got any chance to be able to survive this out. Nightmare ends up getting a little below. Double Q goes down, but no Hunter's Mark onto any target, so or Seeker's Mark, excuse me, able to heal up. There's that healing opportunity there on the Randler. Orb comes up. Varas turns around immediately. Ultimate from Freya. Too little, too late. Dance of the Dryads response. And Functional Sociopaths take another round.
Yeah, big ultimate out of Varask there to keep his team in the game. He ended up finding the kill onto I believe Clerney up top. Just really heads-up play. You don't often see the Iva press that F button, but he had a high impact one.
Out of the small amount of games that me and In the Flesh were able to play, I had an Iva game here or there, and he immediately was like, you press F on Iva. And so the fact that we were able to get an ultimate kill actually, live here at the BPL, I'm satisfied to be like, at least I can say Varas did it too.
Yeah, you're not the only one.
I'm not the only one who believes in that machine gun here. Here we are. Functional Sociopaths, though, keeping it very competitive here 2 to 3 so far in rounds.
Whoa, your Nightmare. He got chunked hard really quickly.
Counter, not going to hit onto Freya. Jürgen taking a bit of pressure now, kind of isolated, but that 2 versus 1 going very, very well for Freya right now on the side of Xanox. Randler eating a lot of damage. Counter as the stun comes in from Ulrich. He's now, now below 50%, but that damage onto your Nightmare Orb Control goes in favor here of Functional Sociopaths, and they are far ahead in this round.
Yeah, Nightmare, he's able to get back with his ally. The favor is being applied, and he's getting a little bit of healing, but still, his recovery HP is so incredibly low, only sitting at about 50. He has that ultimate, and he's going to have a massive impact with it.
Every time Verosk is able to split Jürgen, isolate from the team in a 1 versus 1, he's doing a very good job of setting the team ahead. Double Q coming down, rain of arrows. The orb control now falling there to Dolos. Aegis goes down, and they get good night!
That was so sick, but they get the kill on your Nightmare in return, and another 2v2 here. Clerney, though, he's on that healer, which is pretty favorable for Dolos. Verosk and Xanox going to have to play very well. As I say that, Verosk takes a huge chunk of damage from an EXM2, and Xanox is doing no better, but they might find the kill! Clerney goes down to the flamethrower. The shield ain't going to protect you from that. Oh no, and the Dragon Slayer!
Ends up making the plays here on the Iva, and with this, able to tie things up 3 to 3.
You know, we saw that Dragon Slayer miss there at the end from Jürgen. I think that was because of Verosk.
Yeah,
I think Verosk's tractor beam. Yeah, the tractor beam messed with him, and his aim was slightly off because of that pull. Really nice play from Verosk, and you know, that's something as a player I would never think about. So really utilizing his abilities to the fullest, Verosk secures that round for his team.
Amazing job here from Functional Sociopaths. Very tense here between the two squads, but without a doubt, this has just been who can kill the Freya first. Kill Freya. Blossom and Iva up against Jürgen there on that Jumong and the Ulrich.
Yeah, punish the melee is the story of this game. Clerney taking a pretty big punish to start this round off. The double Bloom Boom too. Man, this looks really good for Functional Sociopaths.
Your Nightmare not able to get the counter value. Randler Bloom able to hit a stun onto 2. Clerney falling very low. Orb's going to spawn here. The control ends up going to Functional Sociopaths. Xanox eats a stun. Favor going to be dropped in the spacebar out now from Clerney, as they're actually up quite a bit when it comes to HP. Counter not hit once again. Xanox goes in.
Forest Sanctuary going to be dropped. The ultimate, it comes out, but the ultimate is in return, and it hits a double stun, and it almost kills Xanox as well as taking out Randler. Huge ultimate there from your Nightmare.
Verosk, last man standing. Don't think he's going to have the miracle plays to save out this one. And Dolos now are able to find themselves at match point. Only 1 over that of some Functional Sociopaths.
Yeah.
Can they do it?
Yeah, man, this is tight. Functional Sociopaths won the last 3 rounds in a row, so the fact that Dolos is able to take that one is huge for self-confidence and momentum. They got to be feeling good, and they know they have 2 more chances. Meanwhile, Functional Sociopaths, they can't lose another round. And this is a really important match. This match is like the decider for second place in the group, as both of these teams are 1-1. Whoever loses this risks going down to 3rd and risks going into that relegation bracket later on in the season. You really got to win this round.
Everything on the line here, ladies and gentlemen. Can Dolos clutch it out? Or will Functional Sociopaths say 9, send us to another round here? Things starting off. Randler actually taking the pressure this time. Not so much focus onto the Freya here for Dolos. Jürgen forced to use the Prowl already early. Your Nightmare falling pretty low, now at 50%. The Reflect comes up, Orb ends up going to Dolos.
Triple counter proc by your Nightmare, and that's going to allow him to play pretty aggressively here. But Clerney's starting to get pretty low. The ultimate from your Nightmare comes out, and the stun is applied on Verosk, but still not too much damage going to be the result of it, as Zap negates most of that damage.
Look at right now, we see your Nightmare actually take quite a bit of damage. Clerney actually falling low to Xanox taking the trade. He space-bars aggressively, gets in there. He has to actually use the spacebar out. Ultimate comes down, the damage ends up connecting. Xanox now turns onto your Nightmare there with the Shift M1 coming out once again for Verosk every time into that Freya counter. Sets that girl on fire. And with that, Functional Sociopath put us at a dead even 4-4. This is tense.
This is an incredible game between 2 very good teams on such an unorthodox map. This is so much fun, and this is what Battlerite's all about, man. I'm having a great time watching this one. Now, Dread, I'm going to put you on the spot.
All right, hit me with it.
Who's going to win?
I am going with Functional Sociopaths.
Why's that?
Mainly because if Verosk is proper with his Shift M1, it feels like that is the single-handedly the spell that will make them win this round.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I feel like Jürgen started out very, very effectively with the Jumong, and the control they were able to have hasn't looked as good in the later rounds, and I feel like that Ivo momentum's going to carry through.
Yeah, the Flamethrower is so high value against both the Ulrich and the Freya. You're on point. point with your analysis. We'll see if he's able to farm up that energy and have that high impact with it. Jurgen taking quite a bit of damage to start this off, and your Nightmare is also getting kind of low. This looks pretty bad as the side of Functional Sociopaths are healed up by Rambler's AoE healing on the tree.
Yeah, Orb gonna spawn. Dolos able to claim that for themselves. Very needed at that point in time. Two-man counter proc. M2 not going to land from Jurgen as the flamethrower already dropped a lot of energy there for not max value. One of the few double, 50% energy spells that exist here in Battlerite.
Yeah, he's sitting on that too. He has that energy available. You know he's going to want to use it if he finds an opportunity. This orb spawning, both teams patiently waiting for it, and it goes to Functional Sociopaths as Xanox does a great job applying pressure to free up his team.
Ulrich pretty low in the backline here for the red team. Xanox now at 50%, he's going to move up. Bloom goes down with the Dance of the Dryads. Value here for Functional Sociopath. They get the value follow-up, but the double iframe used by Dolos, they dodge it out, and things are fine. We get the reset.
Yep. The taser into the Bloom, and the ultimate going to be wasted from your Nightmare. That puts him in a really bad place. Here's the flamethrower comes out. The counter's not going to be procced by that, and his counter's not going to be procced afterwards either. This is looking really bad here for Dolos and Functional Sociopaths. They continue to play aggressively. The Dance of the Dryad's going to come in the flamethrower as well. So much damage being put out so quickly, and Clerney might go down, but he has the space available. They narrowly make it out, but the HP advantage is now massive, and Functional Sociopaths secure another orb.
They get the orb here. Clerney ends up using the spacebar, but not getting the reset. Flamethrower goes down once again onto your Nightmare, taking tons of damage here. Iva ends up getting the spacebar. Bloom in cap.
Yeah,
and
nice
stun going down there. Look at the damage onto your Nightmare. Has the spacebar. Another spacebar drop there by the favor. EXQ ends up dropping here to buy the heals for Ulrich and friends. Orb up. And it's going to go to Dolos.
Yeah, a big counter comes out from Xanox to negate that Dragon Slayer, but they still secure the orb and the ultimate out from your Nightmare. They burst down Vrosk so big. He takes about 50% of his HP so quickly, but they don't get any more. I thought that would be much bigger.
Jurgen ends up dropping the Prowl. Now only spacebar is going to be the only tool he can use to be able to dodge here. We got 2 seconds, and we have mid-orb up. Rambler and friends end up claiming it here for themselves. Clerney ends up dropping the R. The flamethrower on your Nightmare here. He's able to heal up this time. Things are in control for now, but Dolos falling onto the back foot. The in-cap comes in. He's able to keep himself up. The flamethrower, the ultimate from Freya. The damage comes through, and Clerney ends up dropping here. Functional Sociopaths end up taking it. In the flesh, they hold on. It's such an amazing round here from these teams.
I wish the viewers could see your pose right now, because it's exactly how I feel. You slam your hands down on the table. My God, that was an insane last round. I don't think we could have gotten a better end to that game. And Functional Sociopaths, they are here, and they're ready to play.
That was such an amazing series to watch. The thought process evolution, exactly what we were talking about with Sormia over the last round with the Freya, the adjustment, the 2-versus-1 in the backline, and watching that, I feel like there was constant that, and I feel like I got it out of Vrosk. It was the adjustment within the flamethrower pressure onto Jumong in rounds 1, 2, and 3. Jumong had free reign over any amount of pressure to the front line. Suddenly, Ivo was second guessing. If I spacebar, get an M2 onto it, that's a little bit of poking and prodding. And then whenever the front line becomes threatening, here's the flamethrower coming out. Good night. Now, I mean, I think it's 50 damage, right? If every tick of the flamethrower hits, it is an insane amount of damage that comes out.
And it ignites oil.
Yeah, which
another 24. Yeah, so it's big damage out of that flamethrower. But yeah,
it's ridiculous. Incredible
play from Vrosk. And on the other side, Xanox, he did a really great job adjusting too. We saw him early on just get bodied by Jurgen, but those later rounds, he looked very good. He was very controlled, and he only took the engages he knew he could. He never overextended, and that was a big point in why they won.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just look at some of the highlights of that amazing round here. Back and forth between Functional Sociopaths and Dolos. We said it, again, a lot of this was the amount of pressure that we see on the front line, and there it is, Vrosk coming out with that flamethrower, like I was saying. I feel like that was the breaking point. We saw that was dead even, 3-3 when it came to the rounds, and from that point on, he was very much making Dolos second-guess themselves. But shout out to Dolos being able to recover, I feel like, as the momentum. It felt like a moment where it was like, okay, this is becoming Functional Sociopaths, and then they got that breaking point. 3 rounds in a row, still held their own, and that is where we haven't seen many teams be able to still, keep things tense.
Yeah, absolutely.